You're listening to the Dharius Daniels Podcast.
Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dharius Daniels Podcast. I'm your host, Dharius Daniels, and I'm excited about our time together today. Listen, have you ever had plans that got crashed? What do you do when God crashes your plans? We're going to talk about that on today's episode of the Dharius Daniels Podcast. Well, what's up, everybody? Man, I'm so excited about this conversation today. Got my amazing co-host, Dakari, Chastity. Man, how y'all doing today?
I'm doing great.
You doing great?
Yes.
Something's funny, Dakari. What's up, brother?
I don't know. Did you smell cologne or perfume? You know, that's how we started with war. So.
We always have great conversations before we start taping, so that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, everybody doing good? Good week so far? What's going on in y'all
week
life?
so far. Busy week so far. But so far, so good.
Big things popping, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's song lyrics.
Yes.
What you know about it?
Nothing. I'm leaving that alone. Yes. Dakari, what's been going on with you, brother?
Man, some of everything. I've been doing a lot. You know, finally got the right biking shorts for my Peloton bike.
Yo, I think you need to post a picture of those so that our
and I'm gonna
audience
tag you.
can see. Don't tag me, please.
I'm gonna tag you.
We already had enough last week the other week about the cologne.
But we talked about what is it called?
Toxic masculinity. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what's wrong? You know?
Yeah. We need to address that. We want to model addressing toxic masculinity. There's nothing wrong with a brother complimenting another brother.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you're wearing biking shorts to ride a bike, you know, you should tag others to see if they would buy them, and you all can go ride together, right? We can just be the biker boys. No,
nah.
But Dakari, are you as active on social media? Because I know at one point you were like super active on social media.
Yeah, I was, but I kind of took a break, right?
Oh, really?
Only because I wanted to really focus on what I posted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I wanted to add value. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, you know, you kind of just take a break, take a step back, and I wanted to just put my head into like really just focusing on a lot of things outside of social media, not being on there as much,
Mm-hmm.
and really just doing more reading. You know,
I've heard some people say that they are a lot more content and happy and focused and productive when they take breaks like that. Did you find that to be the case with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I didn't miss it. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now a lot, but I enjoy it. So it's kind of weird. Like, I didn't miss it, but I enjoy it when I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
But and I didn't take a break. Some people think it consumes their life.
Yeah.
Right. But it didn't consume my life. I was just like, I would prefer versus, because you know, you look at your, I think it's iPhone gives you an opportunity to look at
Your
how much
screen
how
time.
much time. And I was like, 8 hours,
Yeah.
you know, in
Mhm.
this one day. And I was like, I really could have read this book I've been thinking about, or
Mm-hmm.
I could have wrote something or did something else. And so that's what I've been doing.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
On the Peloton?
No, you can't do that on the Peloton
It's
because
the
you have
shade.
instructors. Where
It's the
you're
shade
really
for
fascinated
me.
with this Peloton.
I am,
Right,
man.
I'm trying
No,
to think,
I'm
like,
straight
should we
up.
get
I
him
am.
one?
I think we should get him one.
No, don't
Yeah.
get me one.
Well, we've
Yeah.
been seeing
I
your
wanna see
workout
yours,
videos,
though.
so it
we're gonna
probably could.
get
You was in my...
so where you want to grow.
So where you want to go?
Nah, bro. I could just come see yours.
That's cool. We
Yeah.
can make it happen.
It's a big deal. It's like a phenomenon, though. It's this huge trend. I know so many people with those kind of bikes.
We
Yeah.
may need to get them to sponsor the show because we keep bringing that brand up a lot.
Yo, I
So-
listen. I know somebody's trying to get one. It's like an 8-week
Yeah.
delivery period.
For the
I don't
bike?
think they're looking for any additional
Mm.
promotion.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, everybody was looking for bikes. Because I was like looking for a regular bike. And I mean, people were they figured it out, you know, like.
Now I like riding a regular bike better.
I do too.
I mean, I don't have an exercise bike, but I've ridden one. But to me, it's kind of therapeutic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's like what social media does to people, because I'm sure a lot of people were like posting their bikes, and so which leads other people to go and researching and say, okay, you know what? This is here. So that's just the power of social media, honestly. Like, of course, you know, given where we were in the pandemic and stuff like that. But I feel like that's the power of social media, and people put stuff out there like that, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to try that. Oh guys, what do you guys think about this? You know, they just kind of put that out there. So
Yeah, that is good. I think
social
it
media is
does.
dope.
It does add value in those ways. So, Dakar, I think you should post. I think you should post your shoes today.
So you want? We're gonna go here with the shoes.
No,
again.
no, wait a minute. I'm
Your
just
shoes
saying,
are super nice.
No,
What kind of shoes are
Chastity just said that. No, she just said that sometimes people post things and it inspires other people, or you know, to me, fashion is art. God is an artist. It's beauty. Listen, man,
Fashion
I like
is
those.
art.
Well, I appreciate it. I like your shoes, but I
and,
really like Chastity's shoes. Can y'all
you.
zoom in on Chastity?
The most.
You know, like
The most.
I mean, the way
are you rich? I mean, I think the people need to know.
Yes, I am.
Wow.
Very wealthy.
Ooh, I like it.
Very wealthy.
Right.
Wow.
You got to start claiming that stuff, right?
Yeah. No, man,
No,
but
we don't
you
think
are.
you're claiming it. We think
You are.
You're rich.
Yeah. I let people think whatever they want to think.
I mean,
Mhm.
you have a closet in your car.
No, I don't.
I saw you pull back the curtains.
No, you did not. No, you did not see me pull back any curtain.
I mean, when you can
In
get
my
dressed in your car,
No.
I mean, that's what's up.
Yeah, thank you.
I love. Hey, listen.
Let's talk about your closet
All right, let's talk about my closet.
and all the shoes that you don't wear.
Yeah, let's talk
All
about it.
First of all, I don't have shoes that I don't wear.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
so no. We've got to, since y'all brought it up, we got to bring the listeners in to this so that this makes sense.
Okay.
Because if not, y'all gonna have people drawing conclusions about me.
In
Okay.
your big closet.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Right?
Nope. I recently bought a pair of sneakers.
Okay.
Now listen to me. When I say recently, I mean a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
All right. So someone was over to my house and they were like, yo, these are nice sneakers. I hadn't seen these before. Have you wore these? I was like, no, I hadn't worn them. I just got them.
Okay.
That person came and told Chastity, well, I guess told you,
Wow.
that I had shoes in my closet that I hadn't worn yet. I just got the shoes. I hadn't had an opportunity to wear them. Y'all want me to go get them and put them on today?
What were the shoes delivered or shipped?
You know what? Here's the thing. There's always two sides to a story, right? So this is just your side of the story. And we're going to let you have this because I just really don't feel like doing this with you today.
No, that.
I don't.
Hey, listen.
I don't.
I don't have a curtain in my car.
We're not going to talk about cars.
I don't have
Okay.
shoes. I don't have.
See, I'm up here
shoes I
trying to,
haven't
like
worn.
protect people, right? Because I can really go there. But see, people don't, I just like, let me just
Yeah,
protect.
people are something else. Under the
I'm
car.
telling you. Zoom in on
But
our
God
shoes.
Zoom in on it. I think everyone up here, like our shoe game is pretty dope. So I think we deliver every week.
Hey, but you know what? That is a vice of mine, though. I love shoes.
Really like sneakers?
Yeah, that's my thing. Like when I always said,
So you're a sneakerhead.
yeah.
Are you a sneakerhead, PD?
I'm not.
Mm.
Like I just said earlier, I think fashion is art. And I don't think you should be obsessed with anything, but
Mhm.
I think fashion's art. So shoes, clothes, whatever. I'm not as into that, I think, as others. Now, I have to be because there are some people in my life that are like always on me about.
You know what's
There are people
It's
like
like-
always on me about clothes
Okay.
and looks and all of that. But
Mhm.
I could just wear basketball shorts and
do your thing.
I'm happy.
Just
your
basketball shorts.
So what's
Yeah.
like your thing? Like books? Like you really into like books, right?
I'm really into books.
Right, I know you're a reader.
E-courses, online learning platforms, video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll buy a gazillion. I know it sounds so nerdy, but I'll buy a gazillion
But no,
books.
I'm like that too though. It's shoes and books. Like I will order 2 or 3 books. I have so many books I need to get to. And a lot of times it's funny about books for me. I buy books based on the cover. So sometimes I walk in the
Really?
store because I love art, right?
Mhm.
So if you got a creative book cover, like I bought some really crappy books, but I love the cover. You know, so like I walk in like Barnes and Noble. I'm like, man, I like this cover. Let me just see what he's talking about or she's talking about. And I'll walk out there and I spend $40 or $50 just.
I bet that's a part of people's like marketing strategy.
It works.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like, oh yes, let's design a nice cover.
But we do know, you know, PD is very intentional. He's going right to, you know.
What does that mean?
Yeah, he's walking right through those aisles. This one.
No.
And he's pulling it back one.
Is he saying it in his voice? You think he's saying it in his voice? He can't cross his legs standing up.
He does. So, he sits down and he waits.
At the table. Waits for his coffee or his tea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a bagel. Everything bagel.
Everything bagel.
That's so weird. You know, I probably can count on my hand the times I went in a bookstore and actually sat down.
Really?
Really?
I'm so in and out.
Really?
Yeah. I guess it's the introvert in me. I'm in and out. I can't even really do writing in spaces like that. There's too many people walking around and they dropping stuff and they're ordering coffee.
So I can see you probably when you were studying in school. So you were probably one that really had to have one of those cubicles. Like when I was in grad school, they called it the dungeon.
Yeah.
So there was like a downstairs area where it was really spooky for me. And see, I worked in the library like while I was in grad school, and I was like, I hated going down there. And I was like, how do people study? I'm one that I need to be around everybody. I need to know that people are living.
I can't do that. Yeah. I'm the guy. So I really didn't spend a lot of time in the library in undergrad. I probably should have. At Princeton, though, I had to spend a lot of time in the library. So I lived in the library there, and I loved it. It's quiet. I can get more work done that way. Yeah, I can't do music or or
I have to have
something in the background.
Yeah, it could be a rock concert, and that I'm locked in.
Really?
Yeah, like
I have to have like jazz music.
Yeah.
It can't be anything with like words.
Well, I can't listen. Yeah, it can't be words. Though.
No,
but it can be a really cool instrumental.
It really, really helps me set the tone for when I'm studying something or whatever. But you mentioned you worked in the library in grad school.
Yeah.
I worked in a bookstore. Well, not grad school, but undergrad. Did you have like a work study job in college?
No, not in undergrad. I mean, I probably should have, but no, I didn't have a work study job. I played basketball, so I was.
Oh, you was an
pretty
athlete.
much doing that.
You're a star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no, but you know what's funny?
I wasn't a star.
You just made me remember though. I actually worked in the library in undergrad too. I worked in the AUC library, so it's the Atlanta University Center. So I worked in the main library that housed all the.
Oh well, yeah. You worked at what is it, AUC?
Yeah,
yeah. You worked there for different reasons.
It
wasn't for the books.
I did.
It was because Clark and Spellman and everybody else.
Oh man, and then Morris Brown was there when I first got there. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
God is good.
God is good
all the time.
But look how he turned you around.
Yeah, he's still.
You know what
me.
God did? You know what God did? He's still turning.
I'm at an acute angle.
Oh, you know what God did? God crashed your plans.
He did crash my plan like he crashed Chastity bike too.
Everybody, that's Dakari this week. That's not me this week.
He crashed the ATV.
I can't do anything but laugh because you're so silly. Oh my gosh.
I hadn't heard that one. You are at an acute angle.
Yeah.
He's still turning me.
He's still turning it around.
Turning it around for me.
Really thank you, Bashan.
Oh, that's funny.
Yo, that's a good segue though, because that's what we're gonna have a conversation about today. And that is that's God crashing plans. And you know what I think that really addresses though? It addresses the kind of issue of entitlement. I think that that all of us have. I think it's okay to have dreams. I think we all unconsciously though from time to time can feel entitled to them. So Dakar, when you were in undergrad, let's say undergrad, did you see yourself doing what you're doing now?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you had a completely different set of plans?
No, it was.
What were you gonna like? What were your dreams and aspirations for
It was
yourself?
mass communications, radio, television, and film. Honestly, it's funny how kind of like we talk about plans. I'm kind of pivoting right now into the space where I always wanted to be.
Yeah,
right here. But somehow I ended up going to divinity school. It was like I was like, no, I'll go to
seminary.
Yeah, I was like, you want to seminary? Like, I guess I should preach, right? I guess it's the plan. And then I was like, but I had no desire to work full time in ministry.
Really?
No desire.
Yeah. Chastity, what about you?
Yeah, so my undergrad is communications and psychology. So I always knew I wanted to do something along those lines. But then my master's is in education. So I thought I was going to teach. And God was like, no, well, I thought I was going to teach like in like education, like going into the school system. And God was like, nope, but I still do a little bit of teaching and, communications. Nothing
Just
with the
not-
psychology piece though.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
What about you?
Well, I think most people know my story. I was going to law school.
He
Right.
definitely crashed his
So
plans.
that's, I feel like that's normal though. But I feel like sometimes we can unintentionally send the message to people. And when I say us, send the message, I mean not us on the stage, but like church, we can send the message to people that things actually turn out or manifest.
Yeah.
Like you use faith and it just manifests the way that you like. And like I believe God will put you in a place, in a space that you like. But things don't always turn out the way that you anticipated, and things don't always look like what you thought they looked like.
Yes.
And it's like when God is in it, it's like he tells you to do something, you have to make like this hard pivot. And that's like one word that we're talking about often. It's like we keep bringing up that word pivot. It's like, it's like.
But that's it comes up to too though. It really is a faith issue.
Yes.
Because it's like, it's not just trusting God, like when it comes to your income or whatever else is associated with your life. It's also trusting God, like with your happiness. It is saying, okay, if you want to pursue a career in film or radio or mass communications, the assumption is, hey, I desire to do this. If I get a chance to do this, it's going to make me happy.
Right.
And when that's supposedly or seemingly stripped away from you, you feel like, man, well, now I'm not going to be able to be happy in my career because I didn't really do that.
That's so true.
And that's another thing, because it sounds like sometimes people base their happiness on like their careers or things that they want to do or choose. And it's like.
And it's true though. I think many of us will have this idea. We write out, like, that's the only thing about vision boards every year. You write out these plans based on what you think, and you're hoping God kind of like stamps that, right? It's like, I want to do this year. Or even when you think about a life plan, we all say we want to be this. Even when you think about education, talking about school, they teach us to kind of call out what you want to be. What do you want to do when you grow up?
Yeah.
Right? And then you call out these things. I called out about 8 things I know from elementary all the way up until I realized I wanted to do something else. But I think that it does, and I love how you say it's like stripped away. And now I'm bitter. And then I start wrestling through identity. So it traces back to all these different triggers in my life that I'm like, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not. And so you start wrestling and you end up depressed, and now you're in therapy and you're 60 and you're saying, my life is I'm failing at life.
Yeah.
It's man.
Yeah. But I think when you really, I don't know, when you're objective, because I think we all can be like emotionally intoxicated. Like we could be drunk with our dreams.
That's so good.
But I think when you're like really objective and you kind of look at everything from that perspective and that vantage point, then what you really see is like, all right, the one who created me actually knows how to get the highest and best use out of me.
That's good.
Yes.
I mean, and that sounds so simple. It sounds so logical, but I think it's really hard to embrace because I think we're all emotionally attached to dreams. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should not plan. I just think you should plan in pencil because God has a way.
Plan in pencil.
Yeah, God has a way of crashing your plans.
Yes,
and
he does.
I had a conversation on this episode with someone who's really lived that out in a unique way. And I'm really excited for our audience to hear this conversation because you get to, I think, get a front row seat to see how, watch this, that some things that you might be crying over now are things you're going to be thankful for later.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad God crashed my plan.
Yeah.
I'm saying that now.
Yeah, me too. So I got this interview with Yvonne Orji.
Yes.
Many people know her as Molly from Insecure.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited.
And she wrote this book called Bamboozled by Jesus. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and her journey. We're going to learn a lot. I want you to stay tuned because that's coming up next right here on the Dharius Daniels podcast. Well, man, I'm super excited about this guest. It's going to be an incredible conversation. And I think it's going to add some crazy value to your life. You know, everything that's entertaining isn't empowering. I think you're about to be entertained and empowered at the same time. That's what we're all about here at the Dharius Daniels podcast, edutainment. And this is going to be great. Welcome to the Dharius Daniels podcast for the very first time, Yvonne Orji. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, I feel like I want a DMX bark because hey, yo, where my dogs at? But, that's my thing.
Yo, hey, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
I appreciate you. I told you I was looking forward to this. I am a huge fan. I think I probably DM'd you. I was going to say slid in your DM, but I was like, no, I don't want your wife to any kind of ideas. I was just so taken aback by your first two messages at Elevation Church that I had to tell you yo, I think you're dope. And yes, I resonated with so many of the things you said. Then I got your book and I just think you're dope. So I've told you that in your DMs. That's the only thing I'm telling him in his DMs.
Yeah, it's all love. Listen, well, thank you so much for sharing that. It's so encouraging, so genuine, so heartfelt. And, we're just grateful to have you on this podcast because of all that you are, all that you're doing, the people that you're inspiring, the art that you're creating. It's just, I've really been looking forward to this too. We're going to talk about this later. I mean, you get ready to drop a book. I thought I was busy. I'm trying to figure out how in the world are you managing all this? So we're going to talk about, I really want to talk about some of the concepts from the book because I feel like so many people will resonate with it. And I know just the concept in and of itself is something that's proven true in my life. Like, I've been bamboozled. God's crashed my plans, the whole 9 yards. But just tell us, what's life like for you right now? How are you doing? What do you got going on? Give us a peek into your world right now.
I said, and I've said, I thought it would take me a long time to reach the level where I'm at. People were like, what's next? I'm like, yo, I don't know. Cause all of my dreams have come true and I have to dream new dreams. You know what I'm saying? When I thought I dreamed big. There's that song, if you're gonna dream, I don't know why I'm singing y'all, but I'm doing it. I'm in it now. Dream big. It's I was like, oh, I'm gonna dream big. I'm gonna have a house in Hollywood. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna impact the world. I'm there. And I was like, wait, God, there's more? I know my life is not going to stop in my 30s. And I can't fathom what the next level looks like. Yeah. Because I couldn't even see what this level was. And you've outdone yourself. So it's really interesting at a place to be at that place because I know from whence I came. Yeah. And it was there's humble beginnings and then there's just I was beginning. So my life is crazy because I'm living dreams that I dreamt. And it's just blowing my mind because all I did to get here was be obedient. And I know it sounds like, I ain't that special. Do it any and everybody because I know he did it to me. And all I did was keep saying yes like a dummy. And so that's why I'm really excited. I'm really excited for people to get in on this. Because it ain't no fun that the homies can't have none. Yeah. And not in the context to which Nate Dogg. I feel like you have to preface your audience. Because if they came for church, they gotta know.
You actually don't. One time I had a new friend of mine. His name was Enatown Barriola. So Enatown was on, and Enatown's all about love and chivalry and romance. And he wrote this book, and we were talking about his book, and he was like, "But I don't want the people in your audience to be offended." I'm like, "Bro, they probably already got it. You get this."
I'm telling you right now, I love Jesus with all my heart, but I also know that I will have a DMX bar come out and we're just going to have to be okay. You know?
Facts. You know, I feel like everything that you just said is reflective of what resonated with me so much when I got the concept of this book you've been writing. And I feel like the title in and of itself says so much about life. It says so much about, I think the title exposes our entitlement from time to time. We feel entitled not just to dream dreams, but also to design the path that we need to take to get there. And so what I found so powerful to me was this idea that you called it bamboozled by Jesus, and then how God tricked me into the life of my dreams. So to me, you said a mouthful in this opening statement. I entitled this book, so I know where my mind went and how I interpreted it. But I really want to hear from you in terms of, okay, what made you put pen to paper and write this metaphorically? I don't think you probably typed it. But the point that I'm making is, what is it that made you decide, I got to write about this so that other people can be inspired and encouraged, et cetera, by my story?
Well, now I'm curious to know what because you said a lot. I'm like, now I'm curious to know what you heard or felt when you heard the title. I'm like, which year?
Yeah, the bamboozled is what stuck out to me at first, because it's almost as, I think I just connected it selfishly to my own journey and how even career-wise, I was pursuing a degree in law. Like I was going to go to law school. And I felt this sense of call to use my life to serve people in a different way and to serve the church and et cetera. And when I made that decision, straight up at that time, it felt like a demotion. I felt like I was signing up for a life of poverty. There are a number of different emotions I felt on the journey that when I look back on, I'm like, I was really feeling upset about God detouring my plans that I thought were going to make me happy and then introducing me to his that's actually giving me greater happiness and joy. So I think that's what I felt. I just connected to my own journey.
I mean, in my case, God used, I think part of my upsetness with the Father is that he used the thing that I was most afraid of to get me to my greatest purpose. Like I was bullied as a kid. And so told me to do comedy while I'm in the midst of getting my master's in public health, trying to stall from not going to med school. Cause I was like, even though I knew I probably wasn't going to be a great, doctor, I still was like, let me go ahead and take these classes because it's all I knew. Yeah. And I didn't have a fallback plan. I didn't have a backup. So I couldn't just tell my immigrant parents, hey fam, appreciate you for bringing me to America, but this ain't it. What else you gonna do? I don't know yet. Like that was not gonna fly in my household. But then for God to say, go ahead and slang these jokes. And I was like, hey fam, you know that like if I don't do well, the thing that people do to bad comics is reject them. Yeah. I literally spent my formative years being rejected. Like, why would you do this to me? Like, why would you do this to me? And it was a trust fall. And I write in the book, like, I really don't trust falls. Like, because who gonna catch me?
So you just mentioned, I think you said you got a master's in public health. And yes. You were considering strongly a career in medicine.
Facts.
And you go from medicine to comedy.
Laughter is good medicine. That's what my Bible says.
100%. So, like, what were some of the emotions that you felt as you were pursuing this thing that you felt like God was leading you to do? But I know in some sense, there's probably not just a faith, like a spiritual component, but there's also an emotional component. It's like, how do I feel about me? Is this something I actually want to do? Like, where were you emotionally? How did you feel?
Well, for me, I was looking for a way out. Like I was looking for a way out of doing what every other Nigerian did. And listen, being a doctor is a very hard thing. I didn't do it. So I respect all the people who did do it. But I felt like I knew that life. Like half the people I knew were doctors and lawyers and engineers. And sure, I guess they were happy, but they did the thing of like, I work, I'm on call. I work 50 hours. And, if I'm lucky, I can get 2 weeks off if I ask in time. And I was like, yo, I do not want this life. Like, and it's not a bad life. I was just, I started the book by saying I was born holding my mother's IUD in my hand. And I feel like that was God's first foray into punking me, punking my family. Like, y'all thought you could keep me out? And I always feel, I say that because I think like I was called to not do what everybody else does. I was called to not, there's nothing new under the sun, but you ain't gonna do it like me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the old thing, but in a new way.
Yeah.
And I wrestled with like, is this all? You, mom and dad, you brought us all the way across the 7 seas from Nigeria to America just to fall in line? Nah, I didn't like it. But I didn't know that. I knew that more was available. I didn't know what my version of more was, nor did I know to attain the more. I just knew I wanted the more. And God was showing me the seed of how to get the more. And I high key was like, hey, you might got the wrong one. Like, that's not it. And he was like, you got any better ideas? And I did it. So at some point, if all you got is problems and no solutions, you might want to be quiet and take the solution that's handed to you.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing to hear you say that. And, there's something that stuck out and I want us to explore it a little more. And you just mentioned it. And I love how you mentioned this with no guilt. There was no hesitation. I didn't want it. And I really think that it's important to be okay with saying that, because this is what I believe, not in all cases, but in some cases, God's will is revealed in your wants. Like it's not, this life isn't just about God giving us what we want. Sometimes he gives us what to want. He gives us desires in our heart. And you mentioned that you weren't quite clear on what everything would look like, but you were clear that you weren't wired to follow just the normal trajectory to get in line and walk in lockstep with the way things have been done or were supposed to be done, whether it's like socially or culturally or, even religiously. I would really like to explore that a little bit. Is that your freedom to just say, yeah, I don't want to do this? Is that a personality trait? Is that a skill? Because some people are listening saying, I want to get there and I don't know how to get there. How did you get there?
I liked the idea of being called a doctor. I liked the prestige of being important like a doctor. I just didn't like blood. So I was like, how's this going to happen? How's this going to work, fam? Like, and then I was like, oh, I want to be an OBGYN. No, I just like babies. I like humans. I like the simplicity and the innocence of children. It don't mean I got to bring them into the world with my bare hands.
Yeah.
And with their mucous membrane all over the place. But I didn't know. I didn't know. As a kid, I definitely bucked. So I'm the youngest of 4, the only girl. And, my mom is it's pretty traditional as Nigerians come. And I knew early on that I didn't even like the way traditional things was happening. I knew that for a fact. My brothers were out there playing Super Soca and football. And my mom was like, come in the kitchen, I help me cook. I said, so do they not eat? I'm confused right now. Like, and I totally was not what she expected as a daughter. Oh. And to get away from doing the norm, I knew if I told my mother I had to study for a test, that was the only way I would get out of cooking. So I always had a test. Mommy, I can't help you cook because I have to study. And she was like, all right, that's cool. And it was either learn to not cook or not go out and play. But I'm not going to forfeit going out and play because I'm cooking. Now, then I just won't know how to cook.
Yeah.
I mean, now as an adult, it would have been nice to have learned how to cook, but I stuck to my principles.
Yeah. You know, someone's listening to this, and I'm telling you right now, they're getting liberated. This is what I'm serious. Now, listen, we're not talking about whether or not you want to learn how to cook. Hey, that's on you. But no, I'm saying they're getting liberated because whether it's consciously or unconsciously, you gave yourself the permission to pursue a different path. And whether you knew it or not, there is a degree like of emotional intelligence or something there that says, hey, I'm okay with whatever kind of comes with pursuing this path. Like you mentioned, like, of course your mom, she loves you, you're amazing, et cetera. But you mentioned, you're aware, like, okay, yeah, this is probably I was probably a little bit different than what she expected in a daughter. But you didn't feel the pressure, whether it's self-imposed or not. You didn't feel the pressure or if you did, you didn't conform to.
So I say this is the quick button reason why I love God more than I hated disappointing my parents. Because if what God said for me to do is what he wants me to do, he's obligated to make it happen.
Yeah.
So when it happens, not if, but when it happens, they're going to dry these tears up. Cool. Well, then mom and dad, I can't come home every weekend. I can't call you every day because what's going to be and is negativity. And I have that just, spiraling what I know he told me. So there was, in order to be here, there was 7 years of our relationship not great. And that's a risk that a lot of people aren't willing to take. But I was like, gotta fix it on the back end. It's cool. He'll fix it on the back end.
Now, when you were in the middle of it, was that something you felt really strongly about? That, all right, this relationship is functioning suboptimally. It's not optimal. Were you wondering, is it going to be like this forever? Or were you confident it's going to be all right eventually?
It was both. And you kind of have to have a fair amount of both operating at the same time, right? A part of me was like, you talk about, there's a thing in your book that you talked about when you said, I know more of you and I don't love you less. Right. And that really hit home for me because what I found, especially growing up as an immigrant, our love is very conditional. It's like, I was the good Nigerian girl following the good Nigerian girl thing. Straight A's, you name it. I did it. Dishes, I did it. Don't go out to that party. I didn't go. Wait till you get married to have sex. I did all of the things. And the one thing that I wanted to do for myself caused me to be the black sheep. And I was like, hold up. How that work? I did everything else for you all. And the one thing I wanted to do for myself has caused me to be a martyr. All right. And I think at that point, I think the righteous indignation in me was just like, well, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm the kind of person that likes to make sense of stuff. I'm like, well, this don't track. And I understood. Now, mind you, I'm not callous. I understood my mom and my dad's disposition, the community's disposition. When you sacrifice so much and you're like, this is our last black hope. And what is she doing with her life? You get there. It's kind of like when Lazarus died, Mary and Martha, you understand that the one that you love is sick. Come through quick.
Facts.
Even dead for 4 days. Now you want to show up, fam? Now, come on. Like, if you had been here. So you understand Mary and Martha, but at the same time, you understand Jesus. Like, I did this so the people standing about, not for my benefit, but for their benefit. And I feel as though God kind of did the same with me. Or I had to tap into that same thing with my folks. Like, I can't call it. I don't know how this will end. I don't know how this will work out. But there's only one to find out. And if I'm going to church saying, I'm not going to be a punk about it. I went to a church that was called Spirit of Faith Christian Center. Mm-hmm. And when I said I'm going to move to New York, there were some church members that were like, well, you know, if it don't work out, what's the name of this church? Spirit of Faith or Spirit of Whack? What are we doing? And so I've kind of had that angst in me. I've kind of been, you know, like I said, I got a little bark in me. So I'm not afraid to do hard things. I've walked away from a lot of things, but I think what makes it easier to do the hard things is like, man, I didn't ask for this life. God told me to do it. Mm-hmm. So one of us is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible. Incredible. And I'm telling you, I know I keep saying this, and but I say this not as a podcaster right now. I say this with an opinion that may not even be right, but it is informed by my experiences with so many people that I get the privilege of serving. And that is, you are liberating people right now to be not to be a maverick or to be a contrarian just for contrarian's sake, but you're liberating people right now to be faithful to who they actually are. And I am telling you, when I tell you that is a struggle for people, I'm in the people business. That's what I do. That it is a struggle for people. And I get it. There are people who are married and they feel like they cannot be their authentic self in the context of their own marriage. And what you're doing is giving people permission and courage by telling your story. I think is so, so important. Now, this is going to seem like a drastic shift away from something that has just been so, you just said so much, you just dropped so much jewelry and we got profound principles. But I want you to tell the story about, I don't know, tell the story about this. Tell the story about this party situation. You were bamboozled, but you were, as I understand it, you were going to go to some party or going to go to some club, and you end up going to some Bible study. And so let's talk about. We just talked about church. Let's talk about the club for a minute.
Yeah, I was actually going to title that part of the book "On the Way to the Club," and just the way it shook out. I was like, they gonna get the story. No, it was freshman year of college, and my friend was like, "Hey, girl, I went to DC, so I think it was probably 2K9, Club 2K9, or something random that don't exist no more." And she was like, "It was because I planned my schedule to ensure that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was the turn up." So, and she was like, "Hey, before we go, do you want to go to this Bible study?" And I was like, okay. Well, you are aware of what we are about to do right now. Like we about to go find somebody that plays somebody's basketball. And throw like I hope you realize what's happening. And I always knew I was raised Catholic, so at this point I was Catholic, and I talk about in the book like I knew Catholicism, I knew religion. I didn't know relationship because Catholicism is 3 scripture readings, a hymnal, and a eulogy. No shade at all whatsoever to Catholicism at all. But then I went to, and so I knew I had a relationship with God. Like I had told God, you know what, fam, I'm gonna wait till I'm 18 to have sex. I was like, that's my thing. Also, not necessarily because of faith, but because when I was 13, I went to my primary care and she was like, I got to call the mother of a minor to tell her that her daughter was pregnant. I said, no, you can't do that. Cause like there's patient confidentiality. And she's like, not for a minor. And I said, well, and my mother was a nurse. So I said, well, guess who's not calling Celine? But Yvonne's pregnant. Even though I didn't really have a relationship, I just knew like, there to keep kids off drugs work for me. I said, I'm going to be the first person to smoke weed or hit that good crack one time. And I'm like, and now I'm addicted. Like, I like my teeth too much, right? So that was for me. And then I was like, yeah, I feel it. Like, I'm gonna be that one time, and it wasn't even good, and now I'm pregnant. So I was like, I don't want this far. So I told God I'm gonna wait till I'm 18. And I feel like the whole time God was like, this chick don't even know what she just told me. Cool. I'll take it. Because God would be like, I'll let you think that was your idea. You know what? You gave me enough time to work with. So because my birthday is in December, freshman year of college, I'm 17 with 3 months to go. This is when she says, let's go to this Bible study. We go to the Bible study, and in this Bible study is this minister that I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. She's beautiful, she's young, she's a med student. And I'm like, all the things I aspire to do and be. And then she was like, and God's love is what makes it easier for me to, wait till I get married. I said, for what? Like, what are we waiting? Like, I'm confused at this one. Like, this is some craziness. And I said 18. Okay. And I was like, if she can do it, then I can do it. This is how you get bamboozled. It sounds cute at 17 to be like, anything you can do, I can do better. And then God is like, I got a couple decades for you. Before the manifestation of this yet thing. But I will say, so that's how I got bamboozled into waiting until I got married. I was like, this joker. But I will, it has not been a decision that I have regretted. One, because it's really not a decision that I think about. It's kind of just become a way of life. It's just, you eat breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. But in the industry that I'm in, it has proven to be something that I'm glad that I made a decision to do all those years ago.
Yeah. Well, listen, I thought that was hilarious. I don't know what was on your friend's mind when she invited you to Bible study, but I felt like that story, it was funny, but I also feel like it's significant because it speaks to, I think, this idea of, it's what I call strategic surprises, right? It's that seems so little, but it was so consequential and so transformative for you. And I think along our journey, we'll have experiences like that, those strategic surprises, and the compilation of those, I think, help put us in the right place at the right time so that we have the life of our dreams. Listen, I want to let you go. I want to honor your time, but just talk to us a little bit about, and you and I were talking a little bit about this offline, but I thought it was so dope. So talk to us a little bit about like what's next and what you're working on, what's God doing in you, what's God doing through you, what are we about to see? Let's talk a little bit about that.
It's so funny because for a lot of the things that I wrote the book because I felt like, one, I didn't need to write this book. God told me to write this book. I trust me. When you take 7 months off from a very successful, lucrative career to sit in isolation to write, that's not a Yvonne Orji desire.
Yeah.
I was like, are you sure you want me to do this? Because I'm sure there's a movie I could be doing right now. But it was definitely him saying, there's something you have to say. And I believe what it is that I saw myself at an intersection where I'm not too far removed from that chick that didn't have $7.25 to go get a slice of pizza in the city. When God downloads all his dreams, the lowest point, one of the lowest points of my life. I'm not far removed from that, but I'm past it enough to be sitting in my dreams, but I can see them in my rearview mirror. And so that's why I really wrote this book, because it's just like, there's somebody that's like 5 seconds like I was about to be. And if there's anything that they have identified in my life, I like to say, I want to live my life in such a way where, like when you go to a restaurant and you're hungry and it's a new restaurant and you got one shot to get it right. You ain't got time to send the meal back. This is not, we're not experimenting.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the menu and it's so much, and you're just like, I don't know what to eat. and you look over and the person sitting next to you is oohing and eyeing and slurping, and you're like, wait, what is, you know what? I have what they have. No, just go ahead, give me what they have. That looks good. Y'all like it? Cool. I want to live my life where somebody can say, hey, I have what they're having. Not I want to be them, not I want their life.
Come on.
But like, what, like, how did you, like, that soup? Okay, so how did you make the soup? All right, cool. Those are the ingredients. I'm going to make it my own because, maybe I like paprika or maybe I like hot sauce in my joint, but the basics are there. And so for me, that's really why, because there's somebody coming up that needs their own blueprint. But for me, what's next, I'm kind of unlearning a lot of things right now. I'm actually in a really beautiful season of my life. I'm, like I told you, I was like, I'm getting ready to be somebody's wife. I don't know who he is yet, but he hasn't quite presented himself, but I am getting myself ready. And it's a beautiful journey because it's like, all right, so what do I want? You talked about asking yourself these questions. I'm like, well, what do I want in this season? I thought I knew what I wanted in these past seasons, but what's the more now for me? What's the more? Yeah. What's the less? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to release? There were a lot of things that were my blankets that got me to success, but I think God is taking his hand off that because he's like, nah, boo, that got you here, but it's not going to take you there. And so I'm right now in the process of shedding because I'm going to another level.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what is in that level, but I know I'm going. And so just like I had to prepare to get to the level that I'm at now, I'm preparing for that next level.
Well, listen, we know it's going to be amazing. His surprises are pleasant ones. And I'm really excited about this book. I am, and not that it matters that I'm saying that, but I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. I would just say something nice about something else. But I feel like the concept is going to be so liberating for people because life is rarely going to go as we plan it. And I think all of us, we have this expectation that it will, but it isn't. And so this book is going to be revolutionary. I'm encouraging everybody to pre-order it. That matters a lot. Get it when it comes out. Bamboozled by Jesus. How God tricked me into the life of my dreams. Hey, thank you for your witness. Thank you for how you're modeling how to manage success in a successful way, because being successful is hard. Thank you for the joy that you bring through your gift of comedy, and thank you for how you're inspiring everybody, not exclusively, but specifically women and young women, to be their best self and to be their authentic self. So glad to have you as a guest on the podcast. I've got just 3 rapid fire questions we're going to roll out with. All right. If that's okay. All right. Number 1, if you can invite one person to dinner, who would it be?
Oh, one person to dinner? I would say Michelle Obama. Can Barack and Michelle be a joint,
Yeah, that's one. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Okay. What is your favorite spot to visit in Nigeria?
What is my favorite spot to visit? My new favorite spot is this place called Knock. It's on Lagos Island, and they have like this fusion Nigerian food. It's amazing, and it's like a boutique. It's mwah. I love it. Food is good. I love the way to my heart is to my stomach. So, dear future husband, if you could holler.
All right, last one. If you could turn your book, hey, maybe it will one day, but if your book was a movie, who are a few people you would cast in it?
Me, myself, and I. Let me get these checks. I would cast me in it. Who would I cast? I'm thinking about who my love interest would be. I'm like, who would the love interest be in this movie? Who are a couple of people I would Man, there's so many talented people I know in this industry that I feel like Niecy Nash would play my mama.
Okay.
Niecy be like a no nonsense,
yes,
but loving.
Uh-huh.
I feel like that tracks. That David would be mad. Like David the Yellow would play my dad. He'd be like, "How old do you think I am?" But no, I don't know. Those are James Earl Jones. You know what? James Earl Jones just has to be the voice of God in the movie.
100%. Yeah, he is the voice. Listen, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you for investing in our community and our tribe. And man, we're so excited about this book and everything that's happening in your life. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, listen, man, I'm really excited about this part of the show. My favorite part is the Ask Dr. Dharius section of the Dharius Daniels podcast. This is where I respond to questions that come in from you. And if you want to have a question that we answer here on the show, I want you to email us at podcast@dhariusdaniels.com. May we get to as many of them as we can. Chastity, you're going to start us off with some questions that we have came in this week.
Mm-hmm, from the email. So this is a question from Anonymous. She wants to remain anonymous. And her question is based on the previous episode where you talked about putting people in their place. And you talked about if relationships trigger regression. So her question is, what if the relationship that is triggering regression or time wasting is your husband? And she put husband in all caps.
Yeah. So that can very much be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think my advice, though, is going to be a little vague because there are like tons of questions. Like if I was talking to this person personally, there are tons of questions that I'll have to ask before I would give an answer. Like, so when when she says regression, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like regressing to what? Like emotionally, meaning, is there things that your husband may do that's a trigger? Or is there some trauma that your husband caused? And there are things that he's doing, or the fact that you're just with him is triggering for that kind of trauma. So there are just so many nuances that I think are really important with a question like that. So I want to give like a general kind of answer. And that's this. If the regression is not a type of regression that you feel like is unhealthy, that's a different conversation. Unhealthy, dangerous emotionally, dangerous physically, right? Dangerous relationally. Then my advice would be, of course, you want to have some conversations to hopefully expose that, to give an opportunity to address that. You're probably going to need some coaching or counsel. So if he contributed to some of the trauma, then you're probably going to need some counseling, couples counseling. If he didn't contribute to some of that trauma, I don't know. There may be some individual counseling that's needed, but if not, you might need some coaching. So you may need to bring somebody in to kind of help coach you guys on how to talk through some of these things, so that the person you're supposed to be going into the future with isn't the person that's causing you to actually keep revisiting your past. So I know it's a kind of a vague answer, but it's I feel like it's the best I got considering how little I know about that circumstance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm sure Anonymous will appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. Their name is Instagram name. So it is it came from Ultra Sexy Cameraman Jay. And he asked the question, are you one of the ones?
Listen, wait a minute. I guess I kind of am last. I'm not in. I hope this is not insulting because I'm not trying to be
Instagram name.
But it's Ultra Sexy Cameraman Jay.
Yeah.
Now we have a cameraman named Jay. We have a cameraman named Jay.
Instagram handle
that's working right now.
Yeah,
is that Jay's Instagram?
It could be.
We probably need to. Where is he?
Ultra sexy.
Where is he? We probably need to make sure that's not him.
It's like,
because people have Finstas. Are y'all familiar with Finstas?
Who?
Fake Instagram accounts. So I wonder, is that like?
I hope Jay don't have a burner account.
A burner account.
It put his real name in.
Right? Yeah.
All right. What was
that? Ultra sexy cameraman Jay says this.
I cannot believe that name.
Are you one of the ones who stand up as soon as the plane lands? If so, where are you going?
That is so funny.
So the answer, ultra sexy cameraman Jay, is I am one of the ones that stand up.
Why?
And I'm gonna tell y'all why. Y'all about to think I'm so deep. All right. One is because I've probably been sitting a long time.
Oh.
And I just want to get up so that my blood circulates.
And stretch your legs
Yeah,
out.
I'm not even really trying to go anywhere. But a lot of times my legs are cramped because I'm taller. I'm not like incredibly tall, but I'm taller.
How tall are you?
So I'm 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
So my knees are in the seat in front of me. So I always feel cramped on planes.
That makes sense.
I get it, because you probably were coming from Europe. You know, you didn't say a long flight, so I get it.
Where's he going from the car?
Yeah,
Europe somewhere.
There we
Bibles
go.
Over there.
No, getting in the Uber going home. All of us can't have a curtain in our car.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But shout out to Ultra Sexy Man Cameron, Man Jay, or whatever his name.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Chastity, do we have another question that
Yes, from another name. Her name is Ashley. Ashley wants to know, you have such great energy with your co-hosts, and you mentioned you asked them to be on the show. Could you share how everyone met and how I can discern who to team up with on my endeavors? Ashley, girl, you know.
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of feel like that's really, the answer is kind of consistent with the theme of the show, because I do feel like, I'm not trying to over spiritualize it, but I feel like there's a God factor in kind of how this all came together.
Yeah.
So when I initially was doing the show, the first season of the show, I didn't have any co-hosts.
Yeah.
And it was just me kind of interviewing people. And I just kind of felt like after season one, I mean, I think it went okay, but I just felt like that I wanted this show to be the kind of show that I would actually want to listen to. And so my season one, my guests were great. They added incredible value, but I just felt like that wasn't quite, I love the content, but it wasn't quite the context, the type of show I would want to listen to. I like edutainment.
Yeah.
You know, so I want it to be educational and entertaining at the same time. And so that's when I came up with the idea of co-host. And it was literally like right before season 2. I started talking with the network. So Chastity and I have a working relationship because she helps me with a number of other different things. And so we were kind of brainstorming what direction to go. And I kind of shared with her what I was thinking. And we had a conversation with the network. And actually, Chastity was looking for and recommending female hosts.
I was.
And so we wanted I wanted to make sure I had a female perspective.
Yeah.
You know, not just like diversity. I'm not talking about tokenism. Let's put it
right.
But it's like, no, I want a different perspective. And so she was actually looking at people and searching IG and sending people, and we just couldn't quite find the person. And so I got introduced to Dakari through Chastity a while ago, almost 2 years ago. And so we had kind of been brainstorming on some other things, kind of work related. I just kind of felt like, all right, he's got a vibe, and I organically connect with him. I want him to be a part of it as a male. And so it was like down to the deadline, trying to find a female. And one time I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He's got a company, Beers by Shot.
Yeah.
What's his company?
Beers by Shot.
You know
no, he does not have a company.
Could you please recommend that he purchase that domain before someone else makes money off of it?
Listen.
Because it's so dope.
Yeah, we were having a conversation. He's like, man, you know who I think would be great? He's like, I think Chastity would be great.
Oh, so I have to blame Shot for
And
this.
then I was like, man, I
Okay.
think she would be great too, but I don't think she's going to want to be on the forefront, and she's busy doing so much other stuff.
Yeah.
And so then I just came to town. I was like, yo, we haven't found anybody. You say you're down for the cause, right? You all in. You believe in the mission and the
All
vision.
right, you're
and
doing too much.
all of that,
Bring it
huh?
back. Bring it back.
You believe in what God is doing.
Hey.
Bring it
And she was
back.
like, yeah. I was like, yo, I want you to be on the podcast. Just hold it down for a minute. And she kind of came on just to kind of hold it down until we found somebody. And she got stuck. So it wasn't forced. I just feel like it just kind of came together. And but that, I mean, it goes back to what we're talking about today. I mean, we can plan and we can strategize and all of that, but then it's some moves that are just God moves. And He brings people into the right space, right place at the right time.
That was a great story.
And then people, and look at that, people love y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
We
Yeah,
love
them
them.
too.
We
Yeah.
love them.
Well, great questions, everybody. Hey, keep them coming. Again, we want to answer your questions. We want this to be an interactive show. We know we pick the topics from time to time, but we want to make sure that we are serving you well. And so we can do that when you send us questions. Podcast at DhariusDaniels.com. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part. We need you to help us spread the word about this podcast. Man, this is edutainment. It's educational, entertaining at the same time. And we believe it's adding value to people's life. So, hey, download this and like it and share it. We can't wait to see you next time right here on the Dharius Daniels Podcast.